Yo, what's up? It's MDP here, and today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on Streets of Rage 4. Now, this video is for the most part unscripted. You know, I do have bullet points and whatnot, so it's not going to be like a traditional video. I have everything organized, and I'll be obviously editing out any inconsistencies. But here I am to talk about this highly anticipated game. It's been 25 years since the last one. Let's see if Lizard Cube delivers. Now, Lizard Cube is the developer along with Guard Crush Games, and I believe .mu is the publisher. Now, they made a Wonder Boy remake back at around like 2017, and then they pitched the idea for SOR 4 after some good reception to Sega. Now, most people were skeptical at first, and even during mid-development. The game was shown off and teased with trailers, and I think had an appearance at PAX as a demo. A day or two before the game came out, SOR 4 was met with some pretty great reception from many outlets, with some saying that it was almost a perfect game. In fact, one review in particular was that of Digital Foundry, as they declared it as a masterpiece beat-em-up. So that was quite interesting for me to see, as I do have trust in DF Retro, so it really got me excited. So after beating it, I'm glad to say that the game itself is great, with a slight thing or two that could help it out even more. Things such as hit stun, game feel, and like frame by frame recreation of attacks and patterns have been respected. Before release, .mu released various behind the scene videos about general development, as it's quite obvious to me that they are fans of the series. The total roster contains about 12 characters, with many of them having to be unlocked. You start off with about 4 or 5 at first. As I said, all characters play like you would originally remember, the legacy characters mind you. New additions like Cherry and the Big Guy have their own style. I had fun playing as Adam, Blaze, and Cherry the most. One critique I do have is that I wish all characters could run or dodge. There are instances where I could have easily continued a juggle or combo if I could just dash or sprint cancel. Now, if you play the game on Mania, your chances for combos and whatnot are significantly altered considering how fast enemies approach you and how many enemies there are on screen. So I do enjoy that mode for that reason alone. I feel the inclusion of more evasive maneuvers for every character wasn't included because there are 2 characters that kinda allow you to do that already, and that would be Adam and Cherry. I figured that if they gave everyone this ability, then there would be no point in even picking them. But anyways, I digress. Now, what I'm about to talk about mainly pertains to the graphics. You see, graphically, I think the game looks good, but I can understand those who want a pixelated art style. The developers had to have known this since they've included some retro style options like filters and the ability to use character sprites from the old trilogy, and also an option to change the new music to a retro score. You'd think the sprites wouldn't blend well, but thankfully they do since they put some effort into the lighting and shading of the characters. So if you aren't crazy for the new art, you can definitely try the retro style graphics if you'd like. As for the character designs, a more bulkier and thick physique has been favored for this iteration in the series. SOR 4 takes place 25 years after the last game, so I guess everyone is supposed to be older at this point, obviously. I don't have much to say about the designs themselves other than the fact that they are just fine. One of the most important things about Streets of Rage is the music. Now, the music has basically defined the series, and each soundtrack has evolved along with the feel and look of each game. Yuzo Koshiro's name is stamped on the title screen of every game made by Ancient. That alone should tell you that the audio is something noteworthy, right? SOR 4 decided to do something a little different with its music. The producers over at Lizard Cube got Oliver, who I can't say his last name, I apologize, to handle the audio for the game. This came as a blow for me as I really wanted Koshiro to score the soundtrack, as it just makes sense, right? I think people were really expecting that. an announcement was made saying that Koshiro and a few guest composers would make contributions but not score the entire game. Needless to say, this gave me some hope. After all, .emu did post a behind-the-scenes video for music, and you can tell that Oliver was under immense pressure to deliver a good soundtrack. He went on to enlist a few popular electronic artists to make their own contributions. And that was a bit of a red flag for me, because I already knew that the music was obviously going to be different just by the fact that he said popular. And I don't want to sound like a hipster, it's not that popular music is bad, it's just that for the kind of game this is, we as fans are expecting a certain kind of sound. Either way, I couldn't fault the guy. The expectation is daunting. I mean, this is SOR we are talking about here. Besides the Japanese tracks, the OST is good with a few bangers that Oliver managed to pull out, such as Chow Time or an Exhibition. There are a few more I can't think of off the top of my head, but I'm sure you guys will fill those in for those who actually enjoyed the soundtrack. It's kind of grown on me, to be honest, since I made that quick review on Twitter, so I may have to remove that from my cons. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that every single song is amazing, cause there are some that are kind of like slippery, but hey, for what it is, it's not a bad soundtrack, and I do appreciate the boss theme for Mr. and Mrs. Y. It's really awesome. It's by Koshiro, and it reminds me a lot of his I forgot that one RPG he did for like the DS and stuff. It escapes my name, but it starts with an E. I'll probably find it and put it here, but it kind of reminds me of that. Overall, I think SOR 4 is a good game, and if they ever get a chance to make another one, I'd love to see some expansions in the fighting system. Well, I don't want to drag this out, so tell me what you think of SOR 4 in the comments. Do you agree with some of my points, or maybe you don't? Let me know about the video too. Later.